Ready. You're not going to understand a lot of what we say at first, Ms. Hernandez says. This is called an ESL class. You and your students will be learning English together. It means they won't always understand you, and you won't always understand them. I'm used to not understanding, I say. It's like playing a game with no rules. She nods. That's exactly what it's like. I know, because when I came to the U.S. from Mexico, I couldn't speak a word of English. This is a surprise. A teacher who did not know all things? Did you not know things also? I asked Mr. Franklin. Me? I'm from Baton Rouge, he says. That's kind of like another country. I couldn't understand these crazy northern folks for the longest time. Some of his words get lost on their way to my ears, but I can see from his face that his meaning is kind. When you have a question, Mr. Franklin and I will be here to help, says Mrs. Hernandez. She points to the sky. Just raise your hand like this, okay? I nod. I say okay. Just like her. I raise my hand. Yes, she says. Smiling big, I ask, when will the learning begin? Cattle. In my class, my long-name class, called English as a Second Language, we are 16. 16 people with 12 ways of talking. When we talk at once, we sound like the music class. I can hear down the hall hoots and squeaks and thuds, but no songs you can sing. I look at our faces and see all the colors of the earth, brown and pink and yellow and white and black, and yet we are all sitting at the same desks, wanting to learn the same things. Miss Hernandez tells everyone my name and my old home, and then she asks us to draw a picture on the back wall to show where we come from. One boy, Jamie from Guatemala, draws a mountain with a hole called a volcano. Sarah from Afghanistan draws a camel, though to be truthful, it looks like a lumpy dog. I draw a bull with great curving horns, like the finest in my father's herd. I even give him a smile, but it takes me a while to decide on his coat. In my words, we have 10 different names for the color of cattle, but the writing chalk is only white. I'm working on the tail when someone in the back of the room says, "Moo." Then more say it and more, and soon we are a class of cattle. At last we can all understand each other. I think maybe some of the students are laughing at me, but I don't mind so much. To hear the cattle again is good music. Lunch. After much schooling, a sound comes, like a great bee buzzing. The bell means lunch, Mr. Franklin explains. He gives me a small piece of blue paper. This is for your food. Thank you very much, I say in my most polite English words, but I don't understand how the paper can help my noisy belly. If you give the paper to the cooking people, they will give you food, Mr. Franklin explains. Tastes much better than paper. He laughs. Well, usually anyway. The eating room is grand, with long tables and strange and wonderful smells, and many students chattering. I stand in a line, and soon kind, white-hatted people fill my plate high with food. Ahead of me, I see the snowball girl named Hannah from my building. She says, "Don't eat the mystery meat if you value your life." Then she points to a brown, wet pile on my plate and makes a face that says bad taste. When my tray is heavy with the gifts of food, I stand still in the stream of students. I don't know where to go to enjoy my feast. Hannah waves. "Follow me," she says. I tell her, I'll tell you what's safe to eat. But it's also fine, I say. She shakes her head. Kid, you've got a lot to learn. Fries. We sit at one of the long tables. Nearby are 2 students from my class, Jamie, the boy from Guatemala, and Nishan, the girl from Ethiopia. "Hey," Jamie says. "Hey," I say back, but I don't talk anymore because my mouth is already full of new tastes. "Excuse me," I say when I have swallowed at last. "Well, what is this amazing food?" I hold up a brown stick. "Fry," Anna says, "one of the 5 major food groups. This fry It grows in your American ground, I ask. Hannah laughs, a sound like bells on a windy day. I suppose you could say that. You're a Keck, right? I know because I asked your cousin. Hannah passes me a paper cup filled with strange and beautiful red food. Ketchup, I say. You dip your fries in it. Ketchup, she says. You dip your fries in it. I do what she says, then eat. You're a fine cook, I say. Hannah and Jamie and Nishana laugh. I feel glad I have found enough words to make people happy. When a friend laughs, it's always a good surprise. Not knowing. I see your cousin at the apartment sometimes, Hannah says. He's a very quiet guy. I have to think for a moment. To eat such happy food and to think about words at the same time is too much. Gonwar, I say, has many worries. He seems kind of sad, Hannah says. I look at the fry in my hand with its shiny coat of red. I want only to eat and not to remember, but Hannah's words tug like tight rope on a calf's neck. Gonwar lost his father and his sisters when the fighting came, I tell her. Hannah nods. Her eyes are blue and gray, or maybe green, I can't be sure. I remember a kind of doctor at the camp with such eyes. How did he lose his hand? Hannah asks in a gentle voice. I don't know the words for this. Some English words I hope I never learn. Men came with guns and knives to our village, I answer at last. To be in such fighting, says Nishan, is very bad. And what about your family, Jamie asks me. I stop eating. I take a breath. My father and my brother Lau, they were killed by the government men. I saw it. I pause, as a memory pokes at me like a knife in my back. I was lucky to see, I add. Lucky? Hannah asks. Her voice says. She doesn't understand. Ishan looks at me with eyes that know of such things. Maybe Keck means lucky. To know for sure, she explains. Not knowing is the hardest. Yes, I agree. The hardest. How about your mom? Hannah asks softly. Guilt grabs my throat. I will not go to that black place today. I try again. She'll come, I say. I'll wait here for her. Waiting is hard, too, Hannah says, and I can see that she also knows sad places. I push my tray away. I'm not so hungry anymore. Home. I take the school bus home. It's a long yellow car filled with screaming, laughing students, and maybe paper balls wet with spit. I don't think it would be easy to drive such a car. My aunt is sleeping when I get home. Gonwar enters with a white basket under his arm. The washing machine's in the basement, he says. The what? I ask. The room way down at the bottom of the stairs. I'll show you later. He surprises me with a smile like Lau might have made. A big brother making trouble smile. You like doing the wash. It's my job, but if you want, I might let you help. Sure, I say, although I don't trust that mischief smile. I remember how Lau and Gonwar used to tease and test me. Always I was a little child with foolish ideas and silly ways. Always they were too old to bother with me, unless it was for their own fun. The door of my aunt's room opens and she comes out slowly, yawning and stretching. How was school? She asks. You would not believe it, I say. They teach you and feed you, and I have my own desk. We're going to visit the zoo where animals live, and the planetarium where stars live, and I'm going to learn how to slam dunk in class called PE. Slam dunk, Gonwar corrects. Good, my aunt says, good boy, and she fills a kettle with water to put on the cooking fire. I want to tell her more, but I can see that her mind is visiting other places. I think maybe I'll like living here in America, I say to Gonwar. Yeah, that's what I thought too, but you never really feel like an American, Gonwar says. You'll see. Why, I ask. Gonwar shrugs. Because they won't let you. He tosses the basket on the sofa. I'm out of here, he says, switching to English. Be home by, my aunt begins, but Gonwar is already gone.